Hi, welcome to the Big Bear Homestead. Today is episode number 12 in our Predator Control on the Homestead series. Today, we're going to talk about moles. Moles. If you got them, you know it. They're the little aggravating creature that goes through around your homestead, in your garden, in your pasture, in your front yard, and they make these tunnels. Now, so you're probably thinking, okay, Big Bear, so how is this thing even a predator? Well, remember, we're classifying anything that can do harm, destruction, or take away from us as a predator. Now, a mole, because of his nature, him living underneath the ground and tunneling everywhere, he can hurt the foundations of our house, our barn. He can mess up our pastures to the point where the ground becomes so soft, our livestock can twist an ankle, break a leg, anything like that. Also, his diet consists of earthworms, grubs, any of your root vegetables, even peanuts, roots of your trees, your fruit and nut trees. So that's why we can classify him as a predator. We want earthworms in our garden. We want to be able to harvest our root crops. And we really want our fruit trees and nut trees to grow to their fullest potential. So how do you know if you've got a mole? Identifying a mole is probably the easiest of all the predators that we have. The only way that you're going to know you got moles is you're going to see their tunnels. There's no tracks or scat that we can identify them with because they spend 98% of their life underground. So the only way truly for us to identify them is to see their runs, their burrows that are going to be all over your homestead. So now that you see the runs, what can you do about it? Okay, this is where it gets tricky. Because see, the problem with the mole is he won't use that same run ever unless he just wants to. There's going to be a particular one part of a run that you'll find that leads to what we call in the nuisance wildlife business, what we call the wrist. He'll use that particular run over and over and over and over again because it's more or less the only run going straight to his house. And then the rest of them from there, when it hits that wrist, they branch out like fingers, and he may never ever use that run again. So how are we going to figure out which runs he's using more than once and which ones he's not? This is where it becomes a little bit labor intensive. What you have to do is go through these runs, and in different places, just take your booger finger, poke it down in there, and make a hole. And then take a landscaping flag and mark it. And then start to pay attention. Go and check it daily for 3-4 days. If your hole is still there, he's not really using that run. But if your hole's been repaired, meaning your hole is closed and the dirt's been pushed back up and it's closed that hole, then you know he's using that run and you can put a trap there. Now, the reason why they'll fix that hole is moles are pretty much almost blind. They've got great night vision, but any light pretty much makes them blind. So they're going to want that light closed out. So once you have marked up all of the runs and you find the ones that they're using consistently, now's when you can go to start to trap them. All right, so we got to trap these moles. So what do? Well, we flagged our yard, so we know which runs they are using each time. So we've got the choice of really two main commercial style traps, and they are both medieval. You have your scissor trap, which is here, and then you have your harpoon trap, which is here. Now, either one of these traps, the very first thing you have to do is on that run, you have to smash it down, make it flat before and after where you're going to put the trap in that whole area. So you want to take a length of that run of about 3 to 6 inches and just smash it down really good. Place that trap in the middle of the area where you smashed down. Make sure your pan is touching the ground. So that means you're going to have to, with the scissors trap, you're going to have to put the scissors down in there, work them back and forth a little bit. With the harpoon trap, you have your 2 sides, you slide that down in there, and then I'd also run those nails up and down a couple of times so that there's nothing holding it up. That way it goes all the way through. Pull them out, pull your nails up or close your scissor hands, set your trap, and walk away. Come back every day or every couple of days, just look at it from afar. If your trap is set off, you go in there, you can pull it straight out hardcore and you'll probably pull the mole out with it, or you can just release the trap in the ground, pull it out, and let the dead mole stay in the ground and help fertilize your ground. And that's it. Now, unlike trying to catch a coon or a fox or something where you're just after one, it's not the case with moles, unfortunately. There's probably 101. So this is going to take some time. You just have to keep going at it until you basically got a lot of those runs smashed down and you're not getting any more activity. Constantly be watching your garden area, your front yard, whatever, and constantly be setting the flags. If you see a new run, poke a hole in it and set the flag. Because you don't want to just, oh, there's a new run, let me go ahead and set the trap there, because like I said before, he might not ever come back to that run. Boom, boom, boom. And you constantly keep doing this until you got like next to no activity. Now, as a nuisance wildlife control operator, I have a third option. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up to you is because if you don't have a dog, or if you don't have chickens, or you don't, have anything that'll dig, this might be an option for you. It's completely 100% your choice. But there's a brand called Talprid. They make these rubber worms that have poison inside them. And you can put a hole into the run, feed the worm in there, and close up the hole. And if he comes back through there, he'll eat that worm and die in there. I personally do not use them on my homestead because I don't want Apollo digging it up and eating it. I don't want my chickens scratching it up and eating it. I don't want that headache. For me, it's a lot easier that if I get them, I'll just spend the time trapping them. I sleep better at night doing it that way. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you guys. Those Talprid worms work. They work like a champ. So if I'm coming to your place to do it, if I'm going to Joe Schmuckatelli's house in the neighborhood, I'm going to pull that out of my toolbox and I'm going to use that. But for me personally, on my homestead with chickens and ducks and everything that will also eat a worm, I'm not going to use that. So it's one of those things. I'll put the link for the traps, an Amazon link for the traps and the Talprid in the description below, and you can make that call on your own. But the worms are relatively easy to use. You just make the hole, feed the worm in the hole, and close it up, and you're done. Just, again, I'm emphasizing here, you got to be sure. Use extreme caution, because a lot of dogs will sense the mole in the run itself and try to jump on it and dig it up and go after it. Jack Terriers are notorious for it. But if they do get a hold of that worm or get a hold of a mole that ate the worm, they could get sick and possibly die also. So if you've got a dog or a cat, strongly suggest not using the worms. But that's it. There's not a lot to moles. They're just aggravating. They're very time consuming, labor intensive. So that's it for this episode of Predator Control on the Homestead. Thank you guys for coming by. I want to invite you to check us out on the web at www.bigbearhomestead.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, and you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. I'd like to invite everybody to our live shows every Monday and Saturday. If you like this video, hey, give us the old thumbs up. If you got somebody that you know has a mole problem or any other type of predator control problem, hey, share this video, and please share any of our other predator control videos. We'll have 4 linked at the end of this video. Also, if you guys have ever dealt with a mole problem and you've tried some of the other ways that are out there, like bubble gum and smoking them out and drowning them and all these other ways that I heard of, and if you had success, hey, please share them below. I'm interested in hearing about that. If you tried some of these other ways and you weren't very successful, hey, share that too. All I ask is that you be kind and courteous to others, or your comments will be removed. Also, if this is your first time to our channel and you're liking what you're seeing, hey, click on our icon over there in the lower right-hand corner. It'll take you to the page where you can subscribe. We would appreciate it. Also, I want to remind you guys, YouTube's changed the game up a little bit. You got to click on that gray bell to get the notifications that we've put out a new video or we've gone live. Again, I'd like to remind everybody at the end, I'll have 4 videos linked. That'll be other predator control videos. If you guys have not seen them, I invite you to check them out. Well, that's it for today. Please come back next week when we're going to get a little wet and we're going to get a little wild. Because next week, we're talking about the great American beaver. We hope to see you guys then. Like always, thanks for coming by the Big Bear Homestead. Have a nice day.